Hey guys, Engine Doc again here. Hey, I've got another engine to show you. This is an eBay find. This is a very old steam engine. I'm not sure who made it, but I'm relatively sure that it is the engine that PM Research used to model their 6CI engine from, because it looks exactly like their 6CI, except there's some differences in the main bearings and so forth. Here's my chief mechanic here. What do you think there, bud? About all he cares about is getting something to eat, getting his neck rubbed. Anyway, I'm going to completely tear this down. This engine did not come with a flywheel. I had that flywheel here in my bunch of stuff. I got a pair of those that I picked up several years ago in a flea market, and it's about the right size for that engine, I think. So I'm going to use it. I bored it to fit the shaft, and it looks like it's going to run true and be nice. This engine is very, very stiff. You can't hardly turn it. You can turn it, but it feels grindy and got lots of dirt in it. If you look down the steam pipe here, there's crud in there that needs to be cleaned out. There is a fitting or a housing that goes on here, and the exhaust steam comes out a small port in that, and that piece is missing, but I can make one of those real easy. I'm going to get it apart and see what kind of shape the cylinder's in. I'm a little worried about the cylinder and the cross slide. I don't want to take too much material out of there and get it too loose where it won't fit or will be noisy when it operates. Also, the main bearings are very kind of weird. I need to get them apart. I don't know if you can tell. That's actually a chunk of wood there that somebody years ago have put in there to take up some space. There's a little bit of Babbitt in there that's showing from where I can see, and it just looks like it's just chunks of Babbitt. I don't know if I'm going to have to re-pour those bearings or make some bronze. I'm willing to sacrifice a little bit and make some compensations on this thing just to get it running. Since I don't have the original flywheel, I'm not all about keeping it original, but I do want to keep the main frame and so forth original. It has a copper cover on the cylinder. It's got some dents in it, pretty rough. And let me slip this wheel off. Stand him up here on the end here. And on the bottom here you can see that's been soldered. Now I'm not sure if I will need to melt the solder and take that off. I want to keep that copper cylinder cover. If I can, I'll straighten it out, work it out. It don't have to be 100% perfect, but I would like to keep it original as far as that goes. But I've got to get the cat's down here. He's ready to start helping. Got to get this nipple out. Then I can slip this off the end. I believe I can slip it off the end of the cylinder. And I want to get it all apart and see just where the tightness is. I believe the tightness is in the mains here. Maybe in the eccentric, I'm not sure, but it's all going to come apart. And I don't know to what extent I'm going to clean it yet. I've thought about sandblasting it and completely painting it, but I also like the antique patina. I may just see what kind of shape the cylinder's in, and maybe do something with the bearings, get it loosened up, and leave it like it is, because the thing's way over 100 years old. So I just can't see putting brand new paint on it. So we'll see. Just wanted to give you the initial look before teardown here. So stay tuned. We'll as the work progresses, I'll make more videos and compile this thing and put it on the web. So Ace and I are going to get started on it here. Right, Ace? Alright, bud. Catch you later, guys. Okay, got an update for you here. Got the crankshaft out of it. And taking a look at the bearings. Check these bearings out. They are poured Babbitt bearings. Kind of rough looking. And down in here, these were poured in and then scraped out. They can probably be reused. I'll have to make some shims, proper shims. These pieces of wood probably aren't proper. Here's this side, about the same way. It's my understanding that some of these old engines back in the late 1800s were sold as kits, and they were assembled in machine shops back then. And it looks like maybe some machine shop, amateur machine shop work, where these holes are drilled here, the way they're drilled to make the locks for the bearings to keep the bearings from spinning. And I may see how this fits up and use that. If I can get those cleaned up to where it'll turn true and not move around and knock, I may try to use it. But the major problem I found here is with the crankshaft. I've got it in the lathe over here, and no wonder this thing would not turn. Let me fire the lathe up here and I'll show you what's going on here. This thing running, I just got the belt loose where it'll slip. Take a look at this crank. See how oblong it is. This half of the shaft is jumping up and down. See right here, that straight line over in the background there is a chip tray. See how far out it is. And let me get it. There you go. See this jumping up and down. This one here is running true. But what's happened is at some time or another, I don't know if the engine's been dropped or something has happened, and it's actually rotated on the crank pin. This crank pin looks to be just peened in there. Press fit and then peened over, possibly. So all I've got to do is get this on I'll get it over here on my surface plate and get it set up in a couple of V-blocks, and I'll just tweak this, twist this right here where the crank pin is, and get this line back up. You can see this one's considerably lower than this one, and that'll be a fairly simple thing to do, I hope. I don't think it's probably seized up too bad in these discs, but we'll see. If it is, it's something that's definitely going to have to be repaired. Anyway, that's why the doggone thing wouldn't turn. The piston is real loose, very nice, feels pretty good. I haven't got that part yet, but I will. And I can take my mouth and blow down in here and move the valve and get it to move forward, and move the other way and get it to move back. So there's hope for the cylinder. I don't know what kind of ring I'm going to find in there. This will have to be repacked. There's a bolt missing here. Repacking here, repacking in here on the rod. No big deal there. We can handle that. Get the crank trued up in it. decide what I'm going to do with these bearings, I considered just making some bronze bushings and putting it in here and clamping down on them lightly and shim it. But these old Babbitt bearings are kind of cool, and I'm never planning on working this engine. I'm just going to let it sit and run. I do want to steam it, in the process getting a boiler built, and I do want to steam it someday. But for right now, I'll just get her back together where she's nice and loose, and get her running again. Breathe some 21st century life into it. Okay, we got her apart here. Got some good news and some bad news. Good news is it came apart fairly easy. Slide's in good shape, cross slide. Cylinder's in good shape, inside. Just needs to be cleaned. I'll get that copper lagging off of there. I am going to go ahead and, if I would get that nipple out, I would not be able to slip that off of there with these dents in there, so it's going to have to come off. And I may be able to replace it. I mean, put it back on, straighten it and replace it. We'll see. If not, I'll make new. The valve's in good shape. Just everything's gummy and nasty. It's got to be cleaned up. Piston's in good shape. No rings on it, just some grooves there. On a steam engine, a little leak by doesn't hurt anything, because when it leaks by, it's the other side's on the exhaust stroke anyhow. Just loses some efficiency is all. The packings all look like they can be replaced pretty easy. I've got the rope packing for those. The bad news is the rod's broken. Turn it over here, you can see that crack right there? That's the bad news. So I got a tweaked crankshaft and a broken rod. So I'm going to have to get the pin out here. That's been peened over, and I'll have to make a new pin for it. I'll probably grind the ends down and see which ends will come out the easiest. Get that jigged up and try to get it brazed. I'll have to V that groove out a little bit and braze it. I'm not afraid of a braze job on this. Not going to work it hard. I'm not going to run at 10,000 RPM, so it's probably my plan for that. So that's about it. As I progress, the next thing is going to be just to get everything in a solvent tank, get it cleaned up, and make sure I don't find any more breaks or cracks. So back later.